I'll never forget the night I stumbled upon the forbidden floor in the hospital basement. I was a young nurse, working the graveyard shift at St. Michael's Hospital. The year was 2015, and I had just started my residency. I was still getting used to the long hours and the eerie feeling that came with walking through the deserted corridors at night. As I made my way to the nurse's station to grab a cup of coffee, I noticed a door that I had never seen before. It was located at the end of the hall, and it looked older than the other doors in the hospital. The sign on the door read, "Authorized personnel only," and had a warning symbol that looked like a biohazard sign. I felt a shiver run down my spine as I approached the door. I had heard rumors about a forbidden floor in the hospital basement, but I never thought I'd stumble upon it. My curiosity got the best of me, and I decided to investigate further. I swiped my ID card, and to my surprise, the door unlocked with a loud click. As I stepped inside, the door creaked shut behind me, and I heard the sound of the lock engaging. I was trapped. The stairwell was dimly lit, and the air was thick with the smell of disinfectant and something else. Something sweet and metallic. I began to make my way down the stairs, my heart pounding in my chest. The further I went, the colder it got. I could see my breath as I exhaled, and I wondered if the heating system didn't reach this part of the hospital. As I reached the bottom of the stairs, I found myself in a long, narrow corridor. The walls were lined with old hospital equipment, and the floors were covered in a thick layer of dust. I walked for what felt like hours, my footsteps echoing off the walls. The silence was oppressive, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. I started to notice that the doors to my left and right were all slightly ajar. I pushed one of them open, and what I saw made my blood run cold. Inside the room, I found rows of hospital beds, each one occupied by a patient. But these patients were different. They were all hooked up to life support machines, and their bodies were twisted and contorted in ways that seemed humanly impossible. I saw a patient with their limbs stretched out like a spider, another with their skin stretched taut over their skull like a drum. I realized that these patients were not being treated. They were being experimented on. I stumbled backward, tripping over my own feet. As I fell, I saw a figure standing in the doorway. It was a doctor. Or at least, it was wearing a doctor's coat. But its face was twisted and distorted, like it had been melted in a fire. The doctor started to move towards me, its eyes fixed on me with an unblinking stare. I scrambled to my feet and ran back up the stairs, not stopping until I was back in the safety of the nurse's station. I never spoke of what I saw that night, but I knew that I had to get out of that hospital. I quit my job the next day and never looked back. But sometimes, in my dreams, I still see that doctor's face, its eyes burning with an otherworldly intensity. And I wake up with a start, my heart pounding in my chest, wondering if I really did escape the forbidden floor.